Our attention this time turns to Detective Goro Misaki, as writer Kenichi Araki finally returns to putting the show back on the rails. Goro, if you might remember from his first appearance, 32 episodes ago, was the original test subject for Yuichiro's cross-fusion experiments. You know, before Neto got the synchro chip to work. Here, he's shown first helping out a ramen shop owner get out of a scam artist to establish that he and his Navi Prisman are good guys, which begs the question why they've not been involved in the series up until now. The answer, of course, being anime original character. But he crosses paths with our normal heroes when the wider area is hit with a collective series of gravimetric distortions, literally crushing everything around it, and putting Neto in a bind as he falls into one of the sinkholes they create. Of course, caused by Gravity Man's gravity drive. Goro grabbing some available rope and diving into the pit himself to rescue Neto. And man, I could have seen this episode starting badly had Araki not been its architect. I mean, just look at last episode and compare it to here. Neto sees something going crazy, immediately realizes the likely source and jacks Rockman in to address it, and then ends up hit by the field so he falls into danger in the same way anyone could. It's not ragging on him or flanderizing him into being incompetent that causes his need for assistance. It's him being the normal in such circumstances as opposed to being the special. Or as is the bashing interpretation of such, the special ed. But yeah, Goro makes it in the nick of time. His Navi Prisman likewise showing why he was the first cross-fusion candidate, as he is super capable at his net saver duties. More so than even Blues or Searchman were previously shown, with him getting directly at the heart of the matter, and crushing it in a way that saves those affected. And he has been summoned in attack position. Now, I'd love to go more into Prisman's design and what inspired it, as I know something else inspired it. But once more, thanks to the butchering of the Mega Man wiki that occurred in 2019 in relation to all the .exe pages that have made trying to review this show like pulling teeth to give background details about its development, well, whatever was once specifically named about said inspirations has long been gutted, to never have been replaced or backed up. I still, to this day, curse the wiki administrator who did that and didn't think to back up the pages they were remodeling, as a ton of information was lost when they did so. Regardless, Prisman is powerful even without Goro able to operate him. Almost on the level of a solo Navi with his weapons that double as both spiked pistons and as cannons, with the ability to pacify enemy Navis by turning them into light prisms that trap them in a light maze. He's strong, and it makes sense for an adult net saver to have a Navi like him. Regardless, he's been out of the picture so long because he normally works at the northeast branch of the net agents further up the nation. And with Enzon Naviless now, well, they needed the backup. Thus, with Kifune coming to Scylab to check on the progress of getting the newest weapon in their arsenal operational, said weapon being the Battleship Gate, he's given a chance to meet his anti-Nebula co-workers properly for the first time. Neto being grateful to have someone so personable now having his back. But we also see a seed within him of something dark. See, Goro's been contracted time and again for cross-fusion research through the various stages of Yuichiro's development of Dimension Area technology. And he's failed every time. And it irks him that such a young kid has such a strong bond with his Navi that he can pull it off. Which can kind of be tied back to how strong Prisman is. Because he has solo strength, he doesn't really rely much on his operator. And thus Goro himself hasn't made the greatest of efforts to sync with and gain a stronger bond with his Navi on an intimate level like some other operators do. Neto and Enzon can do it because they've developed those connections, whereas most other high-tier operators, not so much. Most having specialized more in tricking out the power levels of their Navis to make up for lesser operating capabilities, or, once more exemplified by Prisman, so they can work without the presence of an operator without significantly dampening their stats. Regardless, Goro can't do it, and it frustrates him that a kid at least 10 years his junior has to be his backup solely because he can, as it should not have been up to kids to resolve crises that are the responsibility of adults to resolve. Man, I remember when that was the proper mindset for a bunch of complex issues, as opposed to the expectation of the modern day, where old people who've held power for too long prevent the solutions to easily preventable or resolvable problems from being addressed, simply because those they answer to are either idiots or paying them not to. Regardless, Gravity Man eventually finds his way out of the prism he's trapped in, simply because heavy gravity fields can bend light. Well, the battleship gate is completed, the episode explaining again about the PET's internal 5-chip slotting limit that hinders a cross-fusion form's ability to respond to realized Navi threats, and the gate being able to resolve that by another operator acting as the means by which to send the cross-fused fighter new chips freely. They tested with Neto fusing up in test circumstances, the gate automatically connecting to the signal of the in-use synchro chip. The problem that's shown with Meijin first trying it out, however, is the gate requires some level of synchronicity between one sending the chips with the gate and the one using them, similar to the synchronicity a normal Navi and operator would have. Otherwise, the timing to send and then form the gear it sends is all wrong. Because Meijin is a researcher and not normally an operator in this incarnation, he doesn't realize this. But Enzan catches on almost immediately that the timing is what's messing this up, and that's why it's not working. Gravity Man's reemergence distracts from this. Goro, baffled it, managed to escape the prism, but again, super heavy gravity bends light, so of course a light construct wouldn't hold him forever. Still, the two Navis double-teaming him shows what a great asset Prisman can be to their battles. At least, right up until the point dimensional areas get involved, sealing them in.
Gravity hard up.
And this is why enemies that screw with gravity are such a big deal, kids. Seriously, doesn't matter the series, it's always shown to be something that screws with people. It's a top-tier ability. Neto, of course, cross-fuses, with Enzan getting the battleship gate working. As Neto, in order to save himself and Goro from certain death, didn't have the opportunity to slot any battleships that would actually be able to get around Gravity Man's barrier ability, thus only leaving behind what was in active memory. Likewise, leaving Goro feeling useless on the sidelines, until he's approached by Rin with a different voice? Yeah, Yuriko in disguise. Makes sense she'd have more fake faces than just masquerading as her sister. Regardless, Enzan arrives with the gates, and makes use of the single most broken chip in the franchise to save him, having figured out the timing issue, and thus putting him back in the battle network.
Stone cable! Slot in! High cannon! Triple slot in! Giga cannon!
But despite Gravity Man's deletion, well, they have more problems in the form of Dark Blues making his appearance, shocking them all with the form change, and subsequent attacks seeming to do nothing to him thanks to his dark aura. Blues disappearing as the dimensional area converter shut down, and leaving Enzan once more in a short-lived state of blue screen. Wait a second. Damn it, why did I only think of that pun just now? However, Nebula has gotten their goal, as with the area down, they have a new pawn they can use. The wrap-up. We have dramatic entry, with how the show introduced Goro Misaki. We have gravity powers are broken, showing the true power Gravity Man possesses. Seriously, all known physics breaks down in the presence of a high enough gravity field. The fact Gravity Man as a Dark Lloyd enemy has lasted as long as he has is actually a testament to how dangerous he is. Think about it if it was actually smarter. As always, when Araki is actually around to write actual episodes of the series he's in charge of, this one's very strong in place of the active story arc the series is working on. New and returning characters are treated appropriately, and we even see some new shakeups to the expected dynamics emerge to help in telling the story. For as short as his presence is as well, it also makes you wish that Goro had had a chance to be a recurring character previously. But we'll be seeing why he's not sticking around that long next time, as the second arc of the season reaches its conclusion.